folks in if they're running a little bit
Yep.
behind, and if everybody else is ready, I'm ready to go gangbusters here.
Do it.
Good, sounds good. How's it going, Dave? Good to see you. Dave's wearing his confident captain trucker's hat, so that's a sign of a highly motivated participant and individual. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. For those of us that haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name's Kent Dresser. I'm the president of the Professional Captains Association. I'm the founder of Confident Captain, which is a maritime training facility located in Newport, Rhode Island. I started Confident Captain back in 2003. And many of the people here, of course, at some point in their careers have come to us for training, be it to get their captain's license, STCW basic safety training, et cetera. We've been in a business for about 18 years. And when you hit that 18-year mark, you start to think of things like, what else can we do? How can we do more? How can we further help our industry be better than it already is? And that's a little bit of a rabbit hole for me anyway to think in. I felt for a long time that the 100-ton, and by the when I say the 100-ton boat captain, I mean really collectively the 6-pack OUPV and 25, 50, 100-ton, 200-ton boat operators, people that are running relatively small crafts along the coast of the United States of America. Collectively, I tend to refer to them as the 100-ton boat captain. And I think that they're an underserved populace of people. I think that there's a lack of resources for us. There's a lack of professional development. There's a lack of ability to become better at what you do, rather ranging from having the proper insurance all the way to having an easy way or a palatable way to stay up to date on the latest technology. It doesn't exist out there. So, and that's ironic because there's more of us than every other size license combined across the state, across the nation. So we have sort of the largest populace of boat captains with the most fragmented resources. And so as I pondered that, but more and more for years, I really felt compelled to try to find a way that collectively that we could do more, that we could do more for not just for ourselves, but we could do more for each other, and we could do more for our industry. And in my history working with different industries, what I found is that the industries that do well for themselves, that develop professionally for themselves, that foster or nurture, for lack of a better term, themselves, tend to be subject to a lot more success and a lot less, burdensome or unreasonable regulation, right? Like, tie that back to a really simple example. Why do we answer multiple choice rules of the road questions, and why do we spend 20 hours studying them as opposed to something more practical? Well, because no one's ever stood up and said, hey, we're doing a great job of knowing this material without having to do those things. That's a simple sort of low-hanging example, but just one to help catalyze the point that I'm trying to make. So after sort of 18 years and a few thousand boat captains, I came up with a concept where if we were to join together collectively and in a pursuit of professional development, that we ought to be able to optimize the impact of having a 100-ton boat license. I think when I started Confident Captain in the early part of the century, it was possible to have a full career with a 50 or 100-ton license. 20 years before that, maybe not so much. But nowadays, people are getting 100-ton boat licenses, and that's the only license that they need for their entire career. That doesn't delineate the need for professional development or association or just good networking, the ability to find good contracts legally or good insurance or anything, a good deal on charts, right? But it does speak volumes to the way this industry is heading, how the boats might be small, but the job is very big. So once I sort of had that floating around in the back of my head for the times that I ponder them for quite a while, we came up with the concept of a nationwide association of professional boat captains that will work to advance them. So and we launched the Professional Captains Association earlier this year. It was sort of right during the height of COVID, and a lot of you heard of it. A lot of you joined right away. We had, Kate, I think 30 members join in the first hour. So that's when we sort of nodded to ourselves and we said, yeah, okay, we're not the only people that understand the importance of the advancement of ourselves collectively. And so as the summer wore on and this sort of crazy year, what everybody was still digesting this crazy year, I had some conversations with an old friend of mine, Ed Salamy, who's here with us tonight. And he has a significant amount of, I have a lot of experience as a boat captain, a lot of experience teaching people who may or may not want to be taught, but I don't have a ton of experience running trade organizations. I had a lot of good ideas and I had a lot of things that I want to do for the professional mariners of this group. Well, Ed comes along. Ed happens to have a tremendous amount of experience running trade organizations. And so he's come on as our executive director. And he comes from background. He's a Rhode Island resident and an old friend of mine. We both attended Bishop Hennigan High School together back in the 90s. So Ed, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome. We're glad you're here. This is sort of his first public appearance as our executive director. So go easy on him.
No, thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. That's a hell of an introduction. So everyone here, my name is Ed Salamy. I'm the executive director of the Professional Captains Association, or PCA as we call it from now on. Little personal background on myself. I'm a lifelong Rhode Island resident, and my wife and I currently reside in Warwick. I am an avid boater, having spent maybe about the past 15 years or so cruising Narragansett Bay and exploring all of it. And I've always had a passion for the marine industry. But most importantly for this webinar, I'm the owner of ETS Management Group, Inc., which is an association management company. Just for reference, two of our clients are the Automotive Body Parts Association, or the ABPA, and the Quality Parts Coalition. Both of those organizations are in the auto parts world. So the ABPA, just for reference, they're one of our bigger clients. They're a trade organization whose members distribute and manufacture aftermarket automotive collision repair parts. Think things like hoods, fenders, or grills, things of that nature. But what I've learned over the years in running trade organizations is that you must always be working on behalf of the members and creating value through advocacy, education, and development of new member benefits programs. So we will be doing exactly all of that here at the PCA, and we'll review this now. So I do want to stress that if you do have any questions during any of my presentation, just let us know, put it in the chat feature, and I'll try to catch it at the bottom. If I don't, I'm sure Kate will bring it up to my attention. But I think, as she mentioned to those who joined earlier, we'll be addressing questions at the end of the webinar as well. So speaking of questions, one that I'm commonly asked is, why do people join trade organizations or trade associations? Well, I mean, there are many reasons why people join an organization such as the PCA, but ultimately it depends on the priorities of the individual asking. And the reasons are remarkably diverse based on the feedback I got from those who registered for tonight's webinar. So specifically, why join the PCA? I'm going to go over four main reasons. So the first reason is professional development and mentorship. So the PCA, as Kent already spoke about and alluded to, the PCA has been founded by Confident Captain, which is a known and respected industry leader in training and education within the industry. And as Ken mentioned as well, I have a feeling that many of you that are here tonight are joining us because of a past positive experience within Confident Captain. So as the PCA was developed under Captain Kent's vision, you could expect the same level of service, education, and mentorship. So as a member benefit in regards to education, depending on your membership level when you join the PCA, you'll have access to captain's courses through Confident Captain that is included. So this is only available for plus level members and above, not the base level membership. But again, at the end of the presentation, I'll go through what the different membership levels are and what they entail. Also included are consulting sessions with the captains who can offer career advice and provide tips for you to succeed. So a second major reason, this one's a big one, especially for me, is advocacy. So a major function of any trade organization is the ability for members to discuss industry issues with your peers and to have your trade organization work on your behalf to address those issues. It's very simple. If we don't do this, we're nothing but a social club, and we're not going to let that happen. An example of a member issue may be illegal or unlicensed operators taking away job opportunities from licensed boat captains, such as those currently participating on this webinar. It's my understanding that this is something that's prevalent in certain parts of the country, especially with tour boat operators, and it's probably something that would need to be addressed. Another possible PCA member issue is loss of wages or job opportunities should those want to, that there are proponents out there that want to scrap the Jones Act, and that, yeah, it may reduce shipping costs, but not at the extent that boat captains trying to earn a good salary. So I'm sure there are other issues worth mentioning, which we could address at another time. But ultimately, a trade organization is the chief advocacy arm for its membership and addresses concerns that are raised by the members themselves. What typically occurs is members will approach me in the future with federal or state issues that they will want to be addressed. And that's simply put, that's what we're here for. So, third reason for joining the PCA. They're professionals who want to stand apart from their peers. By joining an association such as the PCA, boat captains will be showing their industry friends, their employers, and the industry at large that they stand apart from the rest. Simply stated, members will believe in the values of the organization, what it stands for, and they're proud to be simply a part of it. And this will tie into our upcoming Commitment to Excellence program for PCA members, which is launching later in 2021 that Captain Kent will touch upon in a little bit. Final reason for joining that I'll review before turning it back over to Kent is camaraderie and social engagement. Having the ability to network with your like-minded industry peers through PCA-sponsored events will be an important aspect of the association. In the future, the PCA will be hosting live meetings or conventions, mini conventions, so to speak, where guest speakers will discuss industry issues, relevant vendors will be on display, and my favorite part, members will have the ability to socialize over a few drinks. So I'm going to stop there. I don't know if I have any questions. I see a few. A bunch of people saying hi. So
I can.
yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, we'll hop on, and then at the end we'll put all the questions at the end. That way, if folks need to bug out early or something like that, people who want to stay late for questions and answer can stick around, and some people won't have the time to do that. So
no, good. So yeah, Ken, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Ed hits on, he did it in a fairly subtle way, but he hits on some pretty serious topics. It's one thing for you as an individual boat captain to say, I don't appreciate the fact that people are running illegal charters without their captains, which is a huge problem in our industry right now, particularly down south in Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. It's one thing to say, I don't appreciate that. It's another thing when you have the power and the influence of a large enough organization of like-minded individuals for us to say, hey, we don't appreciate that. We support the U.S. Coast Guard and their efforts to put a stop to this, and we're here to help. We're here to be part of the solution, right? From a career-minded, from a professional development-minded person, it just adds a lot more horsepower to the way that we can address serious industry issues, of which, there's plenty now, and there's plenty, I'm sure, unfortunately, just like any other industry, there's plenty of issues in the pipeline. So, and Ed, you made another great point. And of course, I just lost my place like a typical public speaker, in the importance of networking, the importance of being able to, just collectively gather a lot of like-minded people that all sort of want to make our business and our industry and our personal jobs better. So when we thought of all this, I approached some of my close captain friends and I said, here's what we're going to do. I think this is remarkable. Don't you want to join? These are some deep thoughts that we've spent many hours, Ed and Kate and myself have spent many hours talking about this. And what do you suppose they said, right? Dave's like, can I get a hat? Right? Where's the gear? Where's the cool stuff? Where's the gadgetry? Where's the things that make my immediate job easier? I was like, okay, that's a really good point. Let's add some of that on. How about we create a job board where you can hire people or fire people or get your own new job? How about we put together something to track your seat time? We now have a database. You can go right on your iPhone every day that you get underway and track your seat time. It's fully organized for you and it's stored anywhere. So when it comes time to renew your license, or if you're a younger individual that's just looking to get into the industry, boom, you press a few buttons and we mail you a completed small vessel sea service form. All you have to do is hand that to the vessel owner or captain and have it signed. These are things that just didn't exist when I was getting into the business in the late 80s, early 90s. We didn't really have any resources. So I sort of took a travel back in time to my teenage years in my early 20s. And I was like, what do I wish I knew then that I know now? And I put together that list of goodies. And in some way, either through training or through collaboration with other professionals in different industries, we're able to provide most of those. Not just gear, not just networking, but savings on services. You'll have access to that very well-known admiralty attorney. He will offer discounted rates if you need one. Right now, if you had a problem on the water, who would you call? You're not even sure, like you're probably going to Google admiralty attorney. Well, we're sort of here to lay all that groundwork for you. So then, heaven forbid, I ideally won't need one. But if you do, at least you know who to pick up the phone and who to call, and you're going to get a more reasonable rate because of the fact that you're a member of the professional organization. I'm working with insurance and financial advisors, people who don't have licensed insurance, probably in some situations, many should, or liability or professional liability insurance. You go out right now and you make some phone calls, try to get some professional, as a guy who has it, okay, there's a lot of money every year. But if 100 of us call, the price gets a lot better. And so those are, as much as they're administrative, and sometimes people don't like to stop and think about the administrative things, they're important. And they're things that can really help improve not just your job and your headwear, but also your career and your safety and your protection from frivolity, which also happens in our business. So I don't like to talk about the dark and daunting things, but I like to help protect people from them. So, Ed, with that, did you have more things you want to discuss, or should we open the floor up to a few questions? I see some chat going on, but it's difficult for me to talk and read.
Well, I was wondering, Ken, do you want me to just do a quick, why don't I share my screen and just do a quick what the back end of the website looks like, maybe to show the cap tracker real quick and everything? Because, there's a good question from Dave. He's asking, is it a manual input system or does it have a location services tracking your seat time? Which that sounds like a great idea. Maybe that will be.
I wish I had thought of that idea myself. But
Cap track 2.0.
Why don't you give a screen share of that, and we'll stand by and watch, and then Ed and I can wrap up any questions at the end.
Yeah. So I just was on the homepage and trying to share my screen here. So right now you should be seeing my screen. Are you seeing it, Ken and
Yes.
folks?
Yeah.
Okay. So
great.
I just hit login, and we kind of call, once you get in here, the captain's deck, if you will. This is sort of the members only section where you can get access to everything. But right on the homepage is the cap tracker. And essentially, if you've had to log your seat time before, you need to get all of that information about your vessel, who's in charge and whatnot. So what we do is you've got a form here where you can come in and just log all of your vessels. And so you do that one time. It's all the stuff that what's the 716S form that I just did all of my time, wishing I had this filling out. And then you save that vessel. And then now you can go in here at any time and add more hours to it. So it is filling it. Basically, the idea is that if you were to keep a digital log like this all the time, then after 5 years, when you're ready, you would click submit your seat time, and we would then provide all the paperwork for you. It's already got the email addresses of all the people who need to sign off on your seat time. They'll get it emailed to them to sign off on it. And then you come back and there you go. You've got your little package like I have right here, right now with all of my sea time. So it saves you, I spent all weekend doing my sea time. It will save you that time right there. So while 2.0 will do the location services and be an app that tracks everything for you, this is just 1.0 and but should still in the end save you a bunch of time. The other things that are in the back end are, like we mentioned, we've got our online captains courses right now. So if you do need to, if you haven't gotten your master's yet, so if you're thinking or you need some to get your OUPV, and coming very soon within the next week or so, you'll see an upgrade here if you need to go from OUPV to master's. And then you would sign up for your exams that you would take with us. And of course, we've got that gear. And as Kent mentioned, we've also got a job board where you can, depending on your membership level, post a job or post your resume. So it's all in one-stop shop in the back. And then this is also where we'll have links and news about webinars and professional development. And it will continue to grow as we continue to add even more services, which is happening almost weekly at this point. So there's the quick and dirty, what it looks like on the back end. It looks like we had a question about insurance.
Yeah.
Why would I have to have insurance? Ken, have you ever had this question before?
Well, hold on. It's from Bill Collins. And Bill makes a great point. He said, he works full time for a company that's already insured. And so why would he have to have insurance? For the most part, Bill, I did not carry insurance when I was working for somebody else. We anticipate a lot of members that work for themselves. Here's a great example of like something that I've seen, many people that I've seen come through the doors of Confident Captain. I'm retiring from something. Maybe I was a firefighter, maybe I was a first responder, maybe I was a nurse, maybe I was a business person. I want to get my captain's license and I want to do deliveries, or I want to take people out chartering, or I want to run a small dinner boat. Okay. Of those group of people, many then go work for themselves and they assume that the Boat US policy that they have on their hull is sufficient for what they're doing. They don't have any professional liability insurance. They don't have any corporate insurance, but they're acting like a corporation. Worst of all, they don't have anybody giving them good advice. And so I'm hoping to fill sort of all of those gaps. The way that we've set up, we didn't sort of go into all of the details because ideally, those of you that take my rules of the road lecture, I don't like to bore you too much, right? But I will bore you some. So I didn't go into all of the details, but the way that we've designed the membership tiers, you should be able to join, track your seat time, get your license, and then help us, and then we can help you get started in business. We can refer you to appropriate insurance carriers. We can help you set up your website. We can then help you do your marketing, and all of those things are not included in the membership. You still have to pay for those things, but they're discounted and they're in such a fashion that is applicable to you, and they're done by people that understand your venture because we teach those people every month. So does that make sense, Bill? Yeah, good. Good.
We also got another question that was sort of fed to me along those insurance lines. And it's sort of what is the minimum insurance you sort of need? And I don't know if and we're not an insurance company is probably what we're saying. We're trying to advocate on behalf of people to maybe secure lower rates, correct?
Yeah, but we also, it sort of depends on what you have and how much damage you can do. I would love to take that question and dive deeper into it and give you great advice. More appropriately, I would say the best job for us to do is to get an insurance specialist on the horn and set up a webinar for sometime in February, sometime in March, sometime in April, where someone could sit down and like answer pretty legitimate questions. I know when I first started Confident Captain, I was really surprised at how much things cost. And so I don't have insurance in case I do a bad job. I don't ever plan on going to work and doing a bad job. Thank you, Norm. That's a great opportunity for a member training webinar.
Norm hit the nail on the head there that this should be a future members
Correct.
webinar.
I don't ever plan on going to work and doing a bad job, but I do plan on going to work someday and have people say bad, frivolous, and make frivolous claims against me. And they can be completely frivolous. They're still expensive. The defense is expensive. Somebody comes in the captain's course and whatever, they do a bad job driving their boat when they get out, but they blame me, or they slip in the swimming pool during STCW. I'm prepared for those things, even if those claims are frivolous, but the defense is where it costs a lot of money. So of course, now I was taught that information by an insurance agent who was eager to sell me an insurance policy. But over the years, we've been able to weed out the good ones from the greedy ones. And I think that experience would be well served for the members of our group, which is why I wanted to start to offer sort of my expertise in those fields. So.
We have a question. Can we write some white papers and post to the PCA website? I don't know if Peter's looking for us to post white papers or if he wants to post a white paper and we can publish it on his behalf.
Yes, to both. We've gotten the blog up and going. I would love to tell you that we have a million amazing things for you right now. We have like a dozen or two amazing things for you right now, but it's an ever growing list. It does take members and participation to make more products and more members and more services and more participation. The things I can tell you that we can do really well right now is get you going in the business. And some of the ways, some of the old timers that I've spoken to that have joined the organization, they're looking for a way to give back. And they wish that their path was a little bit easier coming up, as I do mine. And one of the ways that we give back is by supporting the organization, who's then helping folks that are getting into the business do it at a path that has less resistance and hopefully a higher level of professionalism. So. Was there another question, Kate?
No, there was a question of, do we offer the 6-pack license course? And I sort of just said in the chat that yes, we do. And our self-guided online courses are, as soon as you sign up, you have access to them. So, and then through that, we offer tutoring if you want more, that you can then pay for as an aside, where we can then set up one-on-one tutoring. So we're trying to make the self-guided part at a affordable rate, and then you pay for sort of extras like exam prep or taking the exam or things like that.
It's a better system now than it was. And I mean, I owned and operated the system, so I was well aware of where it was positive and where it had shortcomings. People are a little bit turned off by the online course. I just taught 20 people in January on Zoom. It was great. They learned just as much as they would have learned in the classroom. And they learned it at their own pace, and they learned it in an environment where they were comfortable. Some people aren't even comfortable just walking into the classroom. Some people aren't even comfortable turning on their computer, right? So, but COVID sort of forced our hand, right? COVID sort of burned our boats. So we had to figure something out. And luckily we had an online course written and approved by the US Coast Guard. So I was able to just immediately start offering it. And once we got a commercial Zoom account, like honestly, we were totally off to the races. And I worked with a group of 20 people, all of which would probably very admittedly say that they were intimidated by the material going into it. The only thing that didn't translate from the classroom was when working on the charts. I wasn't able to stand right next to the person. Frankly, I very rarely do that anyway. For most part, if you remember when you were a kid and you're like, hey, Dad, how do you spell this word? He'd be like, go look it up. That's kind of what those of you that took the class with me know, like, hey, Kent, how do I do this? Well, where are you now, right? Those questions get answered with another question that ultimately turns out into hopefully a past examination. While we're on the topic of courses, I want to talk about another topic that's near and dear to my heart that's difficult for me to promote because I don't want to go around and say other courses are bad, right? That's a terrible thing to say to my industry peers, to the other people that own training facilities that work hard like me, that have worked hard to put out a good product. But some of them are, okay? Some of them suck. And the people are not subject matter experts. Their egos are being fed by a bunch of people listening to them. They're looking over your shoulder on your exam, helping you with answers, and then sending you out the door fully unprepared to not only do your job right, but stick up for yourself if something goes wrong. And that's, guys, I know everybody wants an easy path. This is not an easy job. And so I get infuriated when I see a bad job being done. There was some people that came to us looking for jobs recently when we're hiring, and we talked about their resume. And I'm like, how much experience do you have as a professional mariner? They're like, well, none. We've been driving. I'm sorry. I cannot hire you to train professional mariners if you've never been a professional mariner. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want to preach. But it's just, you know, we all collectively get out of this industry what we put into it and how thoughtful we are in putting into it. So what we're trying to do is put the thoughtfulness into it so you guys can stay busy driving your boats and you provide the horsepower and we'll drive the thoughtfulness forward. That's my hope with the organization. So I think I saw a few other questions come in. Did anybody want to raise a hand and just ask a verbal question? Or Kate, did I miss anything from a technical standpoint?
There's a question about the offshore wind energy boom, but I think that's pretty far down the road for us, and you kind of answered it with like.
So, well, I can add to that a little bit. Yeah, we are preparing for it. And specifically, first of all, no one's going to do anything in the United States without STCW basic safety training. So if you don't have that, now is an excellent time to get it. We run it almost monthly. We've worked with a number of, and there will be other safety programs that are required for folks that want to go work in it. But until that's fully nailed down, I, as a business owner, am hesitant to really start spending copious amounts of money offering it, because at the end of the day, our expenses are going to get, you know, transferred to you. Now, let's tie that back to the Professional Captains Association. If we have a couple thousand members in New England that are all working together and paying their dues and supporting the industry itself, all of a sudden training gets a lot cheaper. I mean, STCW is expensive. And one of the reasons why it's so expensive, if you look at the business model of any training facility, is we're not a restaurant. We're not like AAA where you pay your dues every year. We train you one time and then you're gone. That's why it makes it so expensive, right? So how do you train that model into something where you're charging people less, but they're renewing annually, and you can start to charge a lot less for training? Because the cost associated with getting some of the certifications required for the wind farm were astronomical, right? And so if we're doing that as an association, as opposed to, you know, Kent writing a check because he founded Confident Captain, it's going to be a lot cheaper for everybody, and it's going to be a lot more credible by the people by the overseers, by the government overseers. So, does that answer your question, Mike? I can't actually see Mike on my screen, but I hope that it does.
He's on mute. We did have a Norm asked a question. Does that put PCA in a position to be a third-party certifier of courses outside of what the USCG offers as a list of course operators? Which we kind of already are, right? If Confident Captain is an arm of, or how are you?
What we can do is offer Confident Captain courses and train the trainer of those courses. So, you know, if you wanted to teach for the Professional Captains Association, you wanted to teach the Confident Captain course, there will be a time when we certify people to do that. I'm not sure that would call us a third-party certifier. I'd say it would call us a professional development partner of some type. I'm not sure a third-party. I'm not sure a third-party certifier is the best way to look at it, Norm. But I do think that we can help each other enter within the organization with you know. If we're thoughtful and we approach it in not a how many captains can we teach sort of a way, but how can we really serve each other well, and how can we get people well trained who, by the way, arguably don't want to be, oftentimes are very resistant to training, and how can we train them well? So I would give that kind of a maybe, Norm. I hope that answers the question. I was a little vague. I'm not there yet, Norm, to 100% answer it for you. So. Anybody else have any questions? Kate, how do you sign up? What's the best way for people that want to get involved?
I do this, Ken. I have here, I was going to go over the membership levels and then tell people where to sign up. And maybe you can bring that up on the screen here.
Take it away, Ed.
No, thank you. Thank you, Kate. So as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 ways to join for individual members. And we also have what we call pro partner, which is meant for businesses. But the base or standard level membership, that's only $99 for the year. That gives you access to the CAP tracker. the job board access, the discounted apparel that Ken said it was important to a lot of people. And of course, just being a member of the PCA, having us work as your advocate. Probably the best value is the Plus membership, which is the $299 per year, has all the standard level perks included, as well as the captain's course that I mentioned, the ability to participate in the captain's course, the professional development, the mentorship, the complimentary MMC credential application review, and I think access to tier 1 development courses. And if you join in that level, you get a free hat or a shirt. Premier, which we had a few people sign up today already, which is great. That's $399 for the year. That gives all the standard and the plus level benefits, as well as access to the tier 2 development courses, MMC application assistance, business consultation, and you can also advertise on the jobs board if you want to hire. Finally, we have the Pro Partner, which is $1,000 a year, $999. Again, that's for businesses. That includes 4 standard memberships for your employees and ability to advertise in our Captain's Dispatch newsletter, as well as the website. I mean, all of this can be found on our website, which is procaptains.org. And I'm sure my contact information is on there, but if not, my email is ed@confidentcaptain.com. Again, ed@confidentcaptain.com. If you have any questions about how to join, membership, benefits, whatnot. If I can't answer it, I'm sure Ken can help answer it. So we'll get things answered for you. But Ken, before we signed off, did you want to say a few last words? Ken?
Stand by for a minute.
Roger that.
Hopefully, if I don't continue to have audio problems, I want to talk briefly. I'm going to go off script here, which is going to make Ed and Kate start to squirm a little bit, but they know me well enough to know that it could happen, right? I do want to talk just a little bit about the pipeline. We're not offering anything too earth-shattering. There's some cool things here, and we've got some tremendous momentum. And I think we've hit the nail on the head conceptually. But I want to talk a little bit about the pipeline, because this is where people that are here tonight and the people that we're able to recruit are so critical. We're always going to have free seminars, whether they're once a month or once a quarter. We're always going to have somebody that wants to talk to everybody that makes them a better boat captain. That's easy to do. As you get into member-only benefits, we'll start to have professional development seminars. These are people that are, oftentimes free seminars, it's not that there's a catch, but they want to sell you something, or they want their name to be known, or they want to network. Professional development seminars are like, this guy's getting paid to make us better. And so it generally creates not necessarily a better, more useful, sort of depends on what your needs are, but it tends to create a little bit of a richer sort of a seminar. Those will hopefully, and we'll have tier 1 and tier 2 for those, depending on how interested people are in professional development from a web-based instructional standpoint. Those will parlay nicely into what we envision in the pipeline is a commitment to excellence program, which is a certification program that has a regular recertification, whether it's 1, 3, 5 years, where you can look at your customer, you can look at your potential employer and say, I'm an association member. I participate in the commitment to excellence program, which means that I am a cut above the rest, that I focus on professional development, that I'm up to date with my knowledge and my know-how. And I think that's be an incredibly valuable tool for anybody in our business. And then not immediately, but eventually, before I retire, which is still a ways away, I would like to launch a program called Safer for All. And what I would like to do with Safer for All is take our members and provide them the tools and the know-how to teach recreational boaters how to be safer. I spent a long time in the salvage business and, running boats 24 hours a day. And, I've brought home successfully 3,000 of them since I was a teenager. And I can tell you that what I'm more afraid of than anything else is the recreational boater. Okay. And we tend to, and this is where you're going to hear me preach and you're going to roll your eyes. we tend to point our finger and say, you should be better at what you do. And you're right, they should. I refer them to various online safe boating courses. But those of you that have known me for the 18 years that we've been in business, you know that that's how I started this business, was trying to make recreational boaters better. It's a very challenging thing to do. But if we have an army, for lack of a better word, of professional boat captains that are also training recreational boaters with information that we've fed them and we've designed for them, and all you have to do is go out there and preach it, that can be a very powerful movement. And I do believe that that's something we can achieve here in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not going to promise it to you tonight because we have a tremendous amount of work on our plate, particularly with the Commitment to Excellence program. But that is what I see in the pipeline. So, you know, maybe you're not joining for the seat time tracking. Maybe you're joining for the future. Maybe you're not joining for the discounted hats and t-shirts, or for, you know, many of you don't need the captain's license course because you've already taken it. But you see the potential that a group of like-minded individuals can have for each other and also for the safety of all of us. And my Safer for All program is a very selfish program. I truly believe that we are safer when we have better recreational boaters. So I do see that as something in the pipeline, but I cannot promise it in 2021. Unfortunately, we can only do so much at one time. So that's it. That's my summary of the pipeline, and I have to tell them that I'm done now because I've gone completely off script. So Ed and Kate, I'm no longer off script, and I'm prepared to answer any more questions or sign off if no one else wants to hear anything else from me.
We have a question when the next seminar for more Q&A will be, but I think if we walk away with anything, you know, we're here to listen, so we want to hear what your ideas are, so what we can talk about as well. So please feel free to also reach out, you know.
Kate, in typical sort of Captain Kent format, Kate has asked me to give her 6 topics to get through the spring and summer seminar seasons, and I haven't got them to her yet, so it's completely on me. I would anticipate 1 a month, always. I think that's a pretty good step. Something could stop us from not being able to do one, but we have a couple of good legal seminars coming up, and we do have a good insurance seminar coming up. And those are people that I've talked to. It's just a matter of, you know, like ourselves, they're busy professionals, and I don't know. I just noticed it's about March 2021. I'm still digesting March 2020. So these things do take a little bit longer, but I would anticipate 1 a month. So. And then Mike McManus made a great point. Recreational skill level has gone down since COVID started. Boating is booming. Recreational boating is booming.
Yeah.
Freedom Boat Club, any boat rental, those are busy places, and they've seen an uptick with COVID. So.
I think Freedom Boat Club in Rhode Island's ordering, I think, 35 new boats this season. So
35 new boats.
Correct.
Yeah. Now they do train. We train them, and we train their captains, and they do offer training. I'm a supporter of that program because they offer training. At the end of the day, you know, the best training does come with hands-on experience. But that trajectory is pretty good. That trajectory is pretty good. So, any other questions, folks? If not, I'll let you guys go and get dinner. Really appreciate you taking the time to sign up. I hope that you will join us. More importantly, oh, Jay, I'm sorry, you had a question in there and I somehow missed it. Kate, can you scroll back and find Jay's question? Or Jay, can you put it back in there for me? I did look for it.
Is there a benefit to someone already enrolled in a Competent Captain course if that person joins the organization?
I would join at the base level. I would join it at the $99 level. I would not buy, and that would be my recommendation for anybody at this point that already has a license. Yeah, the more expensive, you know, the value add and the more expensive one is the licensing and examination and tutoring. So I would say that, yeah, Jay, for you in particular, the regular membership. Now there's a lot of people that are enrolled in a regular captain's course now. They're going, well, it would have been cheaper. We had to hit the start button at some point, and it's not a lot. It's not a huge price difference. So, did I miss any other questions? I'll give it 2 or 3 minutes. Tell you what, let's do this.
You don't have to take yourself off mute. Yeah, think of this like if we were in a real seminar now. Like we're all sort of milling about after the seminar is over. We've only got 20 people here, so feel free to just.
Yeah, if you let's do this, Kate. if you're done and you've had enough of me, thank you so much for coming. I really, truly hope that we can be of service to you in the future. If you want to hang around and ask us questions or shoot the breeze, then I'll hang around for a few more minutes and answer questions. Stephen wants